Hello everyone. If you're like me, you love the fresh smell and sweet taste of homemade banana bread. However, if you're also like me, you have to deal with the constant pain of heartburn brought on by acid reflux, and the unfathomable presence of the eldritch beast that escaped into our plane of existence from the space between spaces. First, we'll need to collect our ingredients. We need 1½ cup of all-purpose flour, a ½ teaspoon of baking soda, 1¼ teaspoon of baking powder, a hatchet or bladed weapon blessed by your local acolyte of Zarkanor, a whole box of salt, a ¼ teaspoon of cinnamon, 3 overripe bananas, a ¼ cup of oil, a small mirror that reflects only the hubris of man, 2 slightly beaten egg whites, a ¼ cup of sugar, and finally, a foolish and doomed belief that God both exists and will deliver us from this continued torment. Step 1. Firstly, take your dry ingredients, flour, baking powder, baking soda, bladed weapon, sugar, and cinnamon, and place them in the mixing bowl. Now, make sure you only take 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Set the rest of the box aside. We'll need it in just a moment. Make sure you give the bowl a good stir to mix your dries together. As you mix, use a turning motion. Remember to keep your eyes on the bowl as you feel that all too familiar dark shadow creep into the room. Step 2. Now is the time to use the rest of that salt. Simply pour an unbroken line along the doorway to your kitchen. Make sure a seal is formed against the presence, which now seems intent on consuming the last memories you have of your loved ones to feed its own inscrutable dark needs. Step 3. Now that the dry ingredients are mixed, you can add the wet ingredients. Firstly, take 3 overripe bananas. Make sure they are black. Black is the shadows that now surround you. Give them a good mashing until they reach a consistency that is smooth with no lumps. Now you can add the beaten egg whites and oil. Give the ingredients a light mix and then add them to the dry. I like to use my KitchenAid, but you can mix by hand if you want to keep your sword arm strong. Step 4. Speaking of sword arms, now is a great time for you to use your holy blessed edged weapon to slash wildly at the air. Make sure you strike in long arcs, as you must cover your eyes for fear of being driven mad by the creature. It has undoubtedly crossed the salt line now. Step 5. Now that you've mixed your ingredients to a nice consistency, you can preheat the oven to 350 degrees Celsius. Before you ask, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit because that knowledge was long ago ripped from my mind by a penguin-like beast with 1,000 tongues. While the oven warms up, grease your bread pan. Hum a song from your childhood to keep your mind off the feeling of dozens of lizard-like fingers sliding up your back. Place your bread in the oven and set a timer for 50 minutes. Step 6, or was it 7? Things are slipping away now. The darkness fills through the cracks in my mind. Rushing torrent of bleakness. Feel it slipping its strands. Searching. Finds what it's after. No, mother! It wraps the strands around my last memories of her. Ripping them like a grape of vine. My mind slips further into the void. Step D. When the inevitable beep of the oven timer snaps you from your tormented disassociation, remove the bread and check if it's done with a toothpick. Let cool for 10 minutes and enjoy. Warm, fresh banana bread that won't leave you with that burning in your chest. Just the one in your mind, like we all have now. So tasty. I wonder where I got the recipe.